If you want to be my friend, you would better go and get a pen.
Video would help you right now.
And maybe we can keep in touch.
You know what's happening?
Like they did in the old days. It wasn't so long ago. And I wish you well.
Still left your part.
Oh, sign your pen.
I'm going to say it was pretty lonely.
I sang it. Well, Patrick and I have an identical voice.
Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once yet?
Not yet.
Rory, how many times have we gotten high together?
Once. Maybe
once.
Maybe once.
Maybe once.
Maybe
I would
once.
love.
I don't know if you're agreeing or you're about to go, Rory, twice.
I would love to elevate my third eye with you.
We did.
And see that movie.
You know what? We I got to say, but on mushrooms, if that's what you're talking about.
Mushrooms at the cabin?
We can. Mushrooms and watching stuff or even listening to stuff, for me,
I wasn't talking about.
Doesn't make sense.
I was talking about ganji.
Ganja?
The tree.
Oh, smoke some tree.
Yeah.
I'd smoke some tree and watch that movie.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
I'm down.
Mushrooms, that only came into play because I started thinking about being at the cabin down at the lake.
Yeah, I would do that. Would do mushrooms at the lake, of course.
Don't you think mosquitoes would really ruin your trip?
No. Wait, are mosquitoes bad? Well, you get some off. You spray some off on. Spray on some off.
I just feel if you were like tripping on mushrooms and you were like, and there were a lot of mosquitoes that could really
it might bother you.
Place.
Might bother you.
Or would you become super sympathetic and like symbiotic?
You start to
like,
talk
take
to
my
him.
blood.
You talk to him, you're like,
you
get
need
out of here. You need it. I hope none of you are carrying a disease that you're going to then pass on to me.
Right?
I don't know, because that first 20 minutes of a mushroom trip is very agitating anyways.
It wasn't on the river.
It was for me. But
Really?
we also went really light. We should do one that's very like heavy and go, oh,
Get in the tunnel?
Get in the tunnel. They're in the tunnel.
Patreon reference.
Little Patreon. If you listen to the Patreon.
I don't even know if that'll be out later or it already came out.
We
When
don't
is
even
what?
know. I'm not going to lie, folks. We don't know when anything is. So,
Hey, let's just go.
should we?
Yeah, because we got.
Is there
I can't wait to read
anything
these
to
letters.
chit chat about?
I mean, between us,
Well,
always is.
well, wait. What is the date for this?
June 8th, theoretically.
So your episode has come out.
So is yours.
Your episode.
You have
yes,
so many more to
I'm
come out.
I'm in them. But your episode of Physical is out.
June 3rd, baby.
So if you haven't checked out Physical Season 2, Daniel is in the first episode of the season. So you got to check it out.
Can I
Apple TV Plus.
I'm gonna Hollywood Reporter you.
do it.
In what ways are you more excited for this season, or things that you're really geared up for people to finally see that maybe your character hadn't developed yet into in the first season?
You know, I think I get
That's
to be.
all the time we have, guys. Go do it. No, do it. I'm really curious.
I think I get to be a different version of my character this season.
Evolved, devolved, or just
Evolved,
a different level?
Evolved. Because naturally you don't want to keep doing the same stuff. You know, you don't want these characters to have wild swings and wild changes, but you do want them to grow and change in order to just make it interesting. Because people just don't want to watch the same thing over and over again.
Right.
So you really want to see some kind of change in the characters, and I think I got to Annie, who's been a guest on this show. I think she did a great job of giving me that opportunity to play Danny Rubin a little bit differently this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm fucking so excited. Actually, oh no, in 2 days the next episode will come out. Every Friday, watch Physical.
I'm pumped.
Should we?
Yeah.
Let's go to the letters. Okay.
Ready?
Please leave all of that in.
Yeah, of course.
This and then
Yeah.
there's no magic to it whatsoever.
Hey, there's a lot of magic.
You
to
know,
it.
you're right. You're right.
Dear host 1 and host 2, you can decide which is which. I decide me, then you. I want to start by saying
Well, that's why he's host 1. He's faster.
You didn't even know it was coming. Wasn't even. That's like somebody when they like.
Yeah, but they said you can decide, and I should have been. I'm the host 1.
When somebody starts a race without telling you.
Yeah,
they're
ready, set, go.
Yeah. Like, whoa.
You're like, we need a third party.
Right. Man, remember racing?
I know.
You would just race your friends. Like, let's race. Who wants to race?
And you always did it to like really gauge where you were at in the tribe.
Yeah.
Where do I stand?
That's probably real, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I would say in almost all social circles, I either was trying to be funny or athletic, which are the two things that I do bring less so athleticism now. But if I was in a group and someone said, let's race, I would go, I think I'm obligated to have to take this challenge just to see.
I felt a little bit of that when we did gassers.
Oh, just to
we weren't racing, but we were like tapping into the like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Well, because it's an enjoyable place to be. Like pushing people in terms of like if you said I'm tired, I would have been like I was way more tired than you. If you would have been like I'm tired, that would have geared me into going, all right, I got to push Daniel. And by doing so, that will push me. And then I know he's going to start pushing me. And then we're going to get that high that we probably haven't had since high school and college of going, all right, we're on a team and we're working towards this thing. That there's real joy in that. Now, granted, while doing gassers, you're like, all right, well, we did it so we could do our internet challenge. But, you know, if we were on a team of some sort, that's very satisfying.
So satisfying.
Yeah.
You also, your daughter's...
I'm host one.
Your daughter's still... Your daughter's... That's something a host two would say.
Dude, you're coming at me with host two quotes right now.
Your daughter's still in that phase of like... this is trotted comedy territory, but I mean it in a sincere way. Where like, just walking in different ways. I'm going to skip a little bit. I'm going to kind of do this a little, because you just can.
Yeah,
you lose that too.
Yeah.
When's this time you skipped? Right? Why
over here every time I walk into the studio.
Love it. All right. I want to start by saying thank you for bringing your joy and humor to all of us these past years. You have been a real light in many lives.
Alyssa, you hate starting that timer.
You
hate it so much.
For everybody, if you haven't figured it out yet, we have a little timer because Rory and I need structure. I grew up in a very Catholic family. We did church every Sunday, said grace before every meal, prayers before bed, etc., etc.
Did you do grace before every meal?
Still do. I don't, but Rochelle does.
I recently told someone that during Jordan's birthday, I go, what's the card say? And I go, Daniel's whole family reads the card out loud.
You outed me?
I outed you.
We just had Rosemary's birthday party in Rochelle.
Yeah. Oh, that's why you were there.
You bet your ass. She read every card out loud. And then I told people, including my cousin Kenny,
that I don't.
I go, you know, listen, Rory gave me shit for this.
We both did the opposite thing.
We are synced up, dude. And he goes, for what? And I go, they making fun of me saying, read your card. He goes, what do they do? I go, nothing. People either read them later or you read it silently to yourself when people have moved on to chips and dip.
No, we all watch them read it silently.
You do that?
I mean, sort of, yeah, but.
And then, so what happens? The person goes, that was nice. That's it?
It doesn't usually take that long. I mean, it's usually like, anyways, happy birthday. Oh, signed, blah, blah, blah.
She read them all. And I was like, I thought about you and your crazy-ass ways of not sharing your feelings. We'll get into this.
All right.
But, yes, also we'll come back to that, prayers.
This just seems like a disorganized host one style show.
Well, at least you've recognized it. I started to realize religion wasn't for me in my late teens, and now do not consider myself a religious person at all.
Same.
I would consider myself more agnostic than anything in that I believe there could be a higher power, but I don't associate myself with any organized religion.
Yes.
For a long time, I just pretended to still be Catholic. I would go to church with my parents when I was home for holidays. I would say grace with them, all that good stuff. But eventually, it just started eating away at me that I was A, lying to myself,
Did
and
I
B,
write this letter?
lying
This
to
is
my
like
family.
Spot on with me.
So, a couple of years ago, I decided to become a comedian. So, a couple of years ago, I decided to come clean and tell them I was no longer religious. My parents and siblings, thankfully, were super understanding and respected my stance, and we moved on from there.
Good.
However, recently, my mother has seemingly decided to make it her personal goal to reel me back in, and I don't know how to deal with it. She's not pushy or rude about it, but she will ask me things like, if there is no God, then where does love come from? I would say, your mom's high. I feel like a dick answer.
I think your mom would love mushrooms at the cabin.
I feel
Mosquitoes or not.
I feel like a dick answering her questions with my honest opinion, and at one point I almost made her cry when we talked about if there was a heaven or not. Most recently, she slipped a book called The Case for God in my bag before I left her place. And I just as stealthily slipped it right back in the bookcase. I love her so much, but it's getting to be a bit much.
Yeah.
The thing is, our parents aren't around forever, and I
love that the dad's smoking pot,
He
drinking
don't
whiskey
give
in
a
the
shit.
garage,
Yeah, he's
listening to
listening to
Led
Indigada
Zeppelin. He
Davida.
didn't fucking care.
The thing is, our parents aren't around forever, and I want our relationship to be as good as it can be while she's still here. Do I just give in and tell her that I had a religious reawakening and just keep up the white lie while she's still here? Or
if you
do
go
I
back to church, you'd realize that they kind of will be around forever because you'll be in heaven with them.
There you
so
go. If you'll accept it.
if you'll just get back into the
Or
Bible.
do I continue to stick up for my beliefs even if it hurts her? Sorry for the heavy-ass content of this letter. Your pen pal.
Not heavy. Not
Jay.
heavy. I appreciate that, but I
Thanks,
don't think
Jay.
this is heavy.
I don't either.
I think, and I don't say that to say that.
I mean,
well,
it is heavy
you
on
shouldn't
her.
fit-
It's heavy on her or him.
She has this interaction.
I think.
But I got to say, in terms of my personal feelings about it, I don't think it's heavy in the sense that I think you just have to be who you are. And if you're like, look, I'm not a religious person, I'm not, I think the argument you have to present or the case you have to present to your mother is, would you appreciate it if I constantly tried to talk you out of being in your religion? And if I assume she would go, I would feel like a separation between us. And you have to go, that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing that to me, just the opposite. And you're pushing me away by trying to pull me in. Whereas if I tried to tell you not to go to church anymore and push you away from your church, I'd be pushing you away from me. And I think
That's a great point,
I think that's
Rory.
it. I think that's the main. I think first off, I think we probably both agree. An F2F has to happen because
it
I don't
already
think you
did.
can live in this world of but I mean
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think you
about now
can live
this-
in the
the
world
book
of
stuff.
going. Maybe I'll just let her have her way. I don't think that's the
No.
way to be because
No.
that will not be an honest relationship.
Right.
Resentment will grow. Little things will fester under your skin, and it won't make it a meaningful relationship anyways. Your best bet is to just be honest and forthright and just say, you need to stop because it's not working and you're hurting our relationship. And
Also, it's kind of like, I used to be religious and Christian, and I would say the prayers quite a bit, right, before a big family meal. And now I don't anymore, and nobody asks me to, and that's appropriate.
have you been open about your stance? And
Yeah, they
your-
know.
Okay.
So, like,
Now, is it just because
If I were to
you're
lie-
sinful on stage? Is that they assume
yes,
it? Or
yes,
eyes closed,
dude.
Yeah,
After the pegging episode, they knew I was gone.
they knew.
Right. I mean, when they're like,
And
how-
also, they didn't know a lot of those
could he-
terms.
how could he have Jesus if he knows what sounding
Yeah.
is? Those two things don't live in
You
your heart at
can't-
the same time. Or your urethra.
Don't.
So
Do not.
so
Gotta
that's a good
shake
one.
that off.
Shake it. So the thing is if I were to lie to my family and say, guys, Jesus is back, baby.
Yeah.
They would be like, cool, lead us in prayer then.
And you go,
And now I'm even a bigger liar because I have my own feelings about their beliefs, right?
Yeah.
But I am now praying to their God on behalf of them. For
Yeah.
like I'm almost bastardizing their faith.
But you also don't want to be a liar.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes you
But
feel bad.
and it's that lie will continue to put you in situations that
Yes.
are even worse
Yes.
than what you're doing right now.
Situationally, but emotionally, you're gonna go, I'm a fucking liar to my
Yes.
family. Whereas,
But I think she's saying I'm willing to carry that pain in me so my mom doesn't have to carry it. But that's not fair. Life is life.
don't think
Your
that's
mom
fair.
has to love you.
I think it's fair. It is your mom's choice for that to be considered pain. That is her choice.
True.
It is not a choice for that to actually be painful for you. You would be carrying a false reality that is lying to your mother, to which to me is a bigger pain. I think that would cause more pain. I
Because
think
then you
if
get to
you're
go
just-
when your mom isn't here anymore. You go, yeah, my mom died without really knowing me.
Yeah, and this way you can go and I don't see, based on this letter, I don't see the mother outright rejecting you. I just think the mom is going, oh, my religion taught me I'm supposed to save people. So
That's
that
the big
means
deal.
my child would
'cause
be
that's
the
thing, too.
number one
She's-
candidate.
So much of it is being dictated by fear. She's afraid
Yes.
you won't be in heaven with her.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so she's like,
Yes.
I gotta. I mean, this is the Pistol Pete Maravich story.
Yes.
I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
The whole Christian folklore is, and maybe it's true, it's irrelevant to me, is
That
that
he
when
is God.
when he died from a heart attack on a basketball court, the last thing he said is, I'll see you at the top and bring as many people with you as you can, which is the whole Christian deal, right?
Yeah.
That they like, you always be closing, always be recruiting.
Yeah.
And there's actually a new movement in the Christian church where some people have kind of like really looked at it, some like big church leaders of big churches, I should say, and said that they don't believe in hell, that hell was a construct created. And if you really like look at the Bible, it kind of seems like it's not a thing. And I think even Satan's only mentioned like twice.
Yeah.
It's very like pulled out of like adaptations and stuff like that. As you look at like King James, the Bible versions before King James do never have the word witches in them.
Yeah.
The only reason it's in there is because King James and a lot of England at that time terrified of witches.
Yep.
So
And
it's
just
all like
allowed to kind of put in what you want.
yes.
And we'll never know what Jesus thought of the Bible
And so
because it didn't exist.
This pastor who has this church in Texas said his first time being on a flight after he had come to terms with the fact that there is no hell was so relieving because he didn't have this stress of if he struck up any conversation, even if it wasn't the intent wasn't to bring the Lord into it,
Yeah.
he would eventually come around to him wanting to testify to that person
Yeah.
and also see if he could save their soul.
Yeah.
And he was like, now I just get to be an example of what I believe.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if that light inside of me that I've
Yeah.
turned on
Yeah.
or that I've screwed in, if that draws someone closer and they want to be like, how can I live like you? I'm happy to tell them about it.
Yes.
But I'm not out here trying to save them,
Yeah.
you know? And so I think for me also, when you think about to this letter, Jay, of functioning, so I just recently did this with my family and
There's something egotistical about the saving.
I
sat next to someone on a plane. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I sat next to someone on a
ours.
plane who like asked what I had done, and I don't ever want to get into
I know.
plane talk. And I made the mistake of being honest. And like we then were like talking about it, and he had a question about like this is the time of the Dave Chappelle trans material controversy.
Yeah.
And so he was asking my opinion, and we were chatting, and then at some point randomly he goes, well, you know, and you provide that gift of laughter, and you know that's the Lord has given you. And I go, oh, okay, so that's now I know your cards,
Yeah.
and we're going in that direction. And there's this big part of me that just wants to go back and just go, oh, okay, so you're still trapped in your ego where you think that you haven't accepted us as, even in your own religion, in your own faith, you haven't accepted us as one, that you are so egotistical that you believe that you're saved and I'm not, that you look at yourself going, well, I'm righteous because I've done these things. But yet, if you started talking to me, you would go, well, I just want to, you know, but the job is to save people. And what if I was like, oh, I know, I actually, I haven't eaten in a month because I give all my food away to homeless people, and I give all my clothes away, and I don't have luggage because I give all my clothes away. Would you still sit there going, yeah, but I need to like save you? Or would you go, oh, actually, I guess that would be more reflective of, you know, the teachings of Jesus Christ?
That
but
person will tell you, Rory, we all fall short of the glory of God. And so even doing all those things, you
it's
haven't
so
been
sick.
forgiven. And so if this plane were to crash, it would just break my heart. And I know that's probably hard for you to believe, but I do care about you as a brother, even though I don't know you.
Yeah.
And if I were to walk up to those pearly gates and I look around, where's the buddy sitting next to me?
Yeah. And I would
you're
go,
not
look,
there.
I'm going to be up there, and I'm going to have less luggage because I don't have luggage, dude. I have luggage.
So do you have to operate? I'm saying this admittedly to get back to what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
do you have to operate in any sort of still Christian or Catholic stance when you're home?
No, I think my stand-up has made it very clear to
But is it
everybody.
happening though? So the reason I
Like,
say
what do you
that-
mean? Is it happening?
So when I'm back and everybody stands around and holds hands, and then we say a prayer, and then we say all these nice things to Jesus that we then hope bounce back down to the person we could just look at and say to them.
Yeah.
My families are very affectionate, so they still do those things.
Yeah.
But I'm not praying,
Right.
and but I am happy to join in the moment.
Oh, I do.
Of
Yeah, yeah.
being thankful for whoever's birthday we're celebrating. What I tend to do, I just look right at that person.
Yeah.
And so if anybody, whether it's my nephews or one of my cousins or one of my brothers, if somebody looks at me and they go, oh, Daniel's not praying, but you are seeing me lock in on Rory, who you guys are all praying for, and I love that guy. So it's
I'm there to be respectful in all of these.
Of course,
in
none
all
of
these
us are.
situations.
Yes,
I'm down to bow your head,
just like you said.
Like you got it.
You say to your mom, "I'm not here to rip down your faith.
Right.
Just don't try to bring me into yours."
Yeah.
Also, Mom, I love you. If I did have an awakening, you'll be the first to know.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be sending you books.
Yeah.
About how great our Christianity is that we have.
Yeah.
So we're very much. Not only are you like, do not lie. You're saying you almost need another face-to-face.
Yeah.
And I like your thing.
You got to have another face-to-face.
You know how I'm not trying to tear down your religion?
Yeah.
Stop trying to build mine up.
Yeah. You're trying to pull me in with your tractor beams.
Right.
Is that right? Tractor beams?
But there are people, man, you know, there are families that'll just write you out.
Yeah.
And for even that.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a Christian anymore, so we don't affiliate with people like that.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a lot you can do.
And I'm not saying they are going to do that.
I don't think there's a lot you can do about that. I don't think there's a lot you can do about that. I think people are going to be who and what they are, and I don't think it behooves anybody to try to fit into any expected personality or lifestyle or reality just to suit other people's thing, in terms of obviously being safe and respectful of other people. I don't think you're going to get to the end of your life and be happy that you hid who you really were,
or the end of somebody else's life.
Unless you're a serial killer.
Or
don't do that. But if you're
or the end of somebody else's life.
Yeah, and
even you're still going, but it's the end of their life, and you're like, well, I wish I would have been more me with them.
You aren't going to look. Life is too quick and it's too short. It's too fast. It's too all of it. It's too much for you to not just outwardly be who you are, say who you are, proudly be who you are. Yes, that's coming from someone who's in the easiest fucking column of straight white male. But I think everyone in my life are the type of people that would absolutely 100% agree with that. And to me, that is the type of preaching that everyone should be doing, is going, no, be you. It doesn't matter. The positive, I was thinking about this the other day. When you think about life and you think about the how big the world is, how big life is, and you think about all of the negative things in it, and you think, well, what can you do, or what should you be doing? And I think it comes down to Brody Stevens. I think the only power you actually have is you are either a positive energy or you are a negative energy.
It's true.
That energy spreads, and you can only be one or the other. There isn't another column of things. It's all minutia from that point on. You are either positive and you care about putting out positivity, and for some people that goes in a cheesy direction. I don't even mean that. I just mean being a
from
positive,
day to day or hour to hour. How you feel?
Yeah, and minute to minute, you might be like, I'm down about this thing. It happens. But overall, in your lifetime, are you being a positive for people who you don't know, who people's lives are different than yours? Are you positive towards their plight, or respectful towards their culture or their ways? Or are you negative about it? Is your instinct something negative about someone who isn't like you? And I will say that even as someone who has sat here in this very conversation, I have put out negative ideas about someone who is overly religious. That's what I'm talking about in second to second. But overall, if you said, well, Rory, this person has invited you to church, I'm not going to be the person to tell them not to go. I'm not going to be the person to go, hey, I've got a fire over here and I think I'm going to throw it at your church. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to go, hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
It's not the belief you have a problem with, Rory. It's the action, right?
Why
so
I have some of the actions.
Christianity, and you're like, cool. What do you do with your faith? And like, well, I actually started like an outreach program to help feed like people in my community, and I just.
And you go, great.
And you go, what do you do with that faith? They're like, well, we protest homosexual funerals.
Exactly.
And you
exactly.
Go, okay, well, and no, I know those are both extremes. Yes. And I hope the latter is way more rarer than the former.
Yeah.
But those things happen, so that's what it comes down to. It's like, well, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
What do you do with your faith?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just kind. You
Yeah.
just try to be kind in every scenario. Awesome.
Great.
What do you do with faith? We I use my faith to get a lot of people to give me money.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, maybe. Can I ask you a question?
Me, or is this a scenario?
You.
Hypothetical. Yeah.
Isn't every religion people who have ascribed
Go for it.
to a god, right? And they use the religion as a conduit towards getting as close to their god as possible, whatever that
I
is.
assume so.
So, like, if somebody was like, yeah, I believe in a higher power, so I carry these crystals, or I go out and sit in the moonlight.
Jordan.
They
Jordan for both of these things.
Isn't that their religion a little bit? Like they feel an energy, or they feel a higher power, or they feel some sort of fucking chi, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the conduit towards them being as close as they can to receiving that power or that energy or that light,
Yeah.
real or emotional or whatever. That is their religion.
Yeah.
That really it's just, and then over centuries and centuries of time, people just kind of keep whittling it down into like, I show my love of Jesus Christ by beating up these type of people. Like
It just gets further and
that's
further
their
away
pathway
from
to their religion.
Right.
And some of it is I know I keep saying like very harsh things. Some of it is like, I show my pathway to religion by helping out underprivileged children in my community.
Sure.
Whatever that is. But I'm just saying, in any context, if you just believe in a higher power, your pathway towards experiencing or relating to that power kind of is your religion,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So it can be anything.
Yeah.
Last thing,
We're going to start a religion.
of course, we already have.
Galveston Part 3.
Where does love come from? I shouldn't say that's a horrible word. Challenging for me to believe that the person was like God, rather than being like, well, I think love just comes from being a
Yeah.
living organism that's capable of
Yeah.
caring,
You can just
affection.
go, our brains.
right? But
Our
this was a
brains.
big deal for her and her mom. And she almost
Yeah.
started crying. But like,
I wonder where love comes from if there is no God. Our brain. Imagine just quick, our brains.
does she? Wouldn't you just ask? No, we'll get out of here. I know. This is the type of shit I could go all over for.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, but when you answer so quickly as a mom, like, okay.
It was like, Mom, if we
Shooting it down so quickly.
raised some children on an island and they never were spoken about the word of God,
Don't use this example when you confront your mother. by
would
the
they not? She'd be like, "You're having kids." She would,
and they're not getting baptized.
she would. Would you think they would be incapable of love
Huh. Yeah.
if they never heard the word Bible
Or God.
or God or Jesus
Or church.
right? Would they be incapable of love?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it comes from,
Yeah.
right?
I go, well, that's still God. That's still God.
Read this.
Yeah.
Read
Read this pamphlet.
Jay, Rory's dead on.
Good luck.
We talked a lot, and I loved all of it. But
Good
out the
luck.
gate, what he said is an F2F about I will never try to tear yours down. Please stop trying to build it in me.
Yeah.
We wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals. Host 1.
And host 2.
And
we're back. I like this.
You did?
And we're back.
Dude,
Good
I can
toe.
go so high.
Shoes untied.
This is
Shoes
sure.
untied.
This is all only for video, but I can go so.
Hey, shoes untied.
Can you get up
viewer,
here?
Viewer, know that that's down there.
Can you
and
get
see
up
if you
here?
can handle that. No, God.
Come on, give me a little bit.
No. Ow.
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 Cramp.
Cramp. Ah, my leg is I broke my own
I
leg.
bet you could go pretty high. I could see
I
you on the
can't.
soccer pitch all the way out grabbing them.
Yeah,
feet.
that's when I played. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're talking now in this chair, 41.
What do you think I am?
You work out. You know what I do?
What?
I stretch once a month, and I think that counts for
You
something.
play golf.
Here we go.
Takes a lot of core work.
The subject line, Pat's getting
Wait,
married.
I wanted to plug something. You're mad? You might be mad when you hear about it. Guys,
Rory's not going to be doing the show anymore.
we're looking for a new host.
I
We'll
got
call
a
it three.
robot
We'll call
host.
it host 3. We
New host 2.
You're crazy. You just put in my head. Somebody sends us. Don't
Don't.
ventriloquist dolls.
Don't. Do not.
And the
Do not.
It's the video for that week is just our dolls in
Yeah.
the seats.
And us trying to do it. No, us holding them trying to do it like
Don't,
we did in
'cause
the
I can't
one
laugh
episode.
like that again.
Yeah. all right.
Okay. June 16th, it's the only North American Red Bull soapbox races where, they build their little cars and they race them down hills.
Yep.
Your boy here is hosting it.
Oh.
It's in Des Moines, Iowa. Oh, the 18th. I'm sorry. June 18th. It's in Des Moines, Iowa. And I will be whatever that means. I've never done it before.
I was about to ask, and I was like, I bet he doesn't know.
No. Well, I'm sure I'll be. They get judged on the creativity of how they build their soapboxes, and then obviously there's a timed thing, and there's ramps and stuff they have to go over, then like jumps and things.
Yeah.
So it should be hilarious and awesome.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've watched these where it's just like the Red Bull channel, like in a bar, like oh, we'll look at this for a while, like the flu log.
The flu log.
I know. That's I'm hoping I do a good enough job to get to do the flu log. But soapbox is gonna be crazy fun.
Yeah.
So if you're anywhere around Des Moines, Iowa, I will be. Come out.
Iowa will be
June 18th. Maybe. What if there's a pen pal soapbox car?
Okay.
That would be.
And then you
wild.
try to get them to be the winners.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I would.
What are people going one at a time and they're getting timed, or is it like 10 line up and it's a race like in Little Rascals?
As we're recording
the movie?
this, we're so far out. I don't know
Yeah.
all those details yet.
Yeah.
Part of me hopes it is like Hanna-Barbera's Wacky
Sounds
Races.
like a real saga. Oh, I do too.
I know.
God, I hope it's like Wacky Races.
So
It
yeah.
goes on way too long.
June 18th, Des Moines, Iowa. I imagine if you
Wear
go to
sunscreen.
redbull.com, if you want to come hang out with me and watch an awesome day of soapbox races, do it.
Pat's getting married April 3rd is the subject line.
Okay.
So obviously this has occurred. This has occurred, folks.
Right. But we just got it.
We just got it. What do we give a shit? What do we care? Hey, you awesome buffoons. Not bad.
No. I mean,
great. I don't want to be called a buffoon, but
Right.
also I'm not here to argue.
right.
I'm
Or
not here to argue.
could have meant less than Chad.
Oh, that's right. That's right. My brother Pat is getting married on the 23rd. Sorry this is last minute, but it's his fault. He asked me to officiate the wedding recently because the person they had lined up, a friend, had chickened out. I get that. I have been jokingly offering to do it for months, never expecting them to actually want it. Well, as two jokesters,
Be careful what you joke about.
because it
You
does
can end
happen.
up being in a Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah, exactly, in a tuxedo. I have only officiated one ceremony and was the smallest one possible. Now I'm going to be up in front of all our friends and family. I didn't even invite all those people to my wedding. I have messaged my brother and his fiance multiple times about planning the ceremony, but they don't respond to tell me what they want. I've been told the fiance has been a bit of a bridezilla, but she may listen to this, so that's only allegedly. Should I go rogue and just plan this all myself? I already have thoughts. Great. Also, the venue for the wedding is a large cabin with many bedrooms. I have been told that some people have been invited to stay at the venue, but my other brothers and I have not. We are all in the wedding party. My other brother is the best man. We are all traveling back home with our families for the wedding, renting tuxedos, and paying for a bachelor party. Am I allowed to be sour about this? Wishing you well, the Reverend? First off, if I officiate from this point on, I'm calling myself Reverend Rory.
100%.
I can't. There's even a chance that she's going to listen to this. This is already exploded. As I'm saying it right now, the explosion is occurring
In the sky.
in real time.
Yeah.
Explosions in the sky. She's going to hear this. If there's even a chance that she sort of listens to this show,
Right.
it's going to get. That means. So she listens to this show.
And it's probably already happened.
You're
by the time
telling
this
me
drops.
she doesn't have someone in her life outside of the Reverend who also listens to this show?
If she's grown
And when they go, hey, I think this is about your wedding.
if you've grown it, it'll shown.
You've
it.
shown you, and
shown it.
Shoney's all you
It'll
can eat.
shown out.
It'll Shoney's all you can eat. I gotta say, so let's tackle a few.
First
things.
of all, if you're not invited to that cabin, you know what my rule is. If you don't like the cabin, burn it down.
burn it to the ground. I don't think I'd be so sour about not staying in the cabin
Because you
venue.
and I are very similar.
It's,
Who Am I guaranteed
there
a
the
room?
whole
Is
time.
my room close to the kitchen?
I don't wanna do
How
it.
many other people are going to be there?
I think you're. I
Is
think
there
you're better
multiple
off.
beds in my room? You and I would go down.
I
The
think you're
exact
better
same
off.
road on
You're
this.
better
Yeah,
off.
Yeah.
So don't be sour about that. Let that go. I would say you gotta really. I wouldn't do emails or texts. I think you gotta call your brother and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go rogue on your wedding, and it's going to be movie quotes for 10 minutes. Can you run that by your bride?" And then hang up.
You bet you get a response.
Hang up.
No.
Because
Now,
if you
here's the
don't
deal,
get a
Roar.
response, that's what it gets to
I
be.
was going to ask you, if you don't get a response, you would do that?
Yes, because you go, that's what they said.
You would just do the speech from Independence Day?
I would do that, or I would do what I've heard a tale of a guy doing all of the Any Given Sunday halftime speech, which is pretty great. Life is a game of inches.
Glengarry
I'm not gonna
Glen
start to
Ross?
it. Yeah, I would just go, hey, that's what it's going to be, unless you get back to me. You got to. I would call the bride. I would call the groom, and I would just leave these voicemails going. If you don't get back to me, I'm going to decide what the ceremony is, and we're all going to live with it.
You know what you should do?
I have not only in that, I am recording what I'm telling you right now, and I am sending it to all of our immediate family as witnesses that I tried to make sure this ceremony was what you wanted, and you're not getting back to me. Now now devil's advocate, they're obviously very busy. Planning this wedding that we now know has occurred.
Was your wedding
in the
stressful?
past.
Was your wedding stressful?
It is stressful.
But was it for you? Were you and Jordan like, holy fuck, this wedding?
The only thing that was stressful is that it rained for
But
our
I mean
outdoor
the
wedding
planning
that
leading
day.
up to it.
The planning was kind of all right. Like we knew our
Do
budget.
you think Jordan would give me the same answer?
I think she would. I think she.
I wasn't casting
She
shade.
wanted to. I know. But she wanted to. I was very involved.
I believe
So that immediately
I believe
evens
that
out the
100%.
the weight that has to be carried.
Yeah.
I had been cast on ground floor, and we were shooting some episodes, and I had gotten some paychecks. So we weren't in a world of going,
I just thought
are we
of
going to be able to
something.
pay for all this stuff? We already felt okay about it and our
Right.
budget,
Right.
our inviting everybody. We knew we had good food. We had gone to Asheville. We had looked at the venue. We knew this is the venue.
You got married in Asheville?
We knew in Black Mountain, outside of Asheville. Probably pretty close to where we're going to end up living in a couple decades.
Yep.
Or a decade. But we knew the food, and then we knew the food was great. We knew the venue was great. We knew the music was going to be great. We just got a DJ. We didn't go crazy. Jordan made almost all of the decorations because she wanted it to be like crafted her thing.
Yeah. A lot of
So we
crystals.
collected
Crystals.
old wine bottles.
For
No,
these
this is before.
clovers.
This is before we really got down that road.
Okay.
Witch hats, talismans,
Amethyst.
capes, lot of capes.
Chanting bracelets. Are those things? I feel like that's a thing.
That's a thing somewhere. That's a thing somewhere.
Who
Chanting
married
bracelet.
you?
Our friend Jeff Wisniewski, who was awesome.
Yeah.
And then we had a huge wedding party, hers and mine. We just had a lot of people in it, but it was great.
So
I
you
think it
know
was a
that these
great
people
wedding.
are maxed out busy.
They're busy for sure, but they're not like not getting like, hey, look, we're so busy we can't really talk about the ceremony. Is like saying, look, we're so busy creating the set for the play we can't really learn the lines.
Right.
That's what you're saying.
Right.
Like the ceremony is kind of like saying we were so busy we didn't get a caterer. It's like it's not like one of the things you sort of can forget and go, we forgot to figure out our ride.
I always feel like you have to
from
work it
here
with a
to
wedding
there.
or anything big. You need to work it backwards.
Yeah.
What is stuff where you're going to go, well, that ruined the fucking day, right? And it's like alcohol, like bar,
Yeah.
music, like
Yeah.
you said.
I have so many tips.
Food.
I wanted to
right?
write a book
The ceremony.
about throwing a wedding.
But things like seat covers, no one's ever going to care that you ordered blue and they sent
No one
red.
cares about flowers on the table.
Nobody.
Do you want to know what everyone cares about? Here's
Open
what
bar.
people care about as a guest. Open bar. And when I go to a wedding,
Maybe
I
a
look
themed
around, I
cocktail?
go, one bar station?
Right.
I would do two. You're gonna get a line.
You know what I
and
also,
it's-
you know what I go?
people want to
I
get
go,
their drink.
bar very far from dance floor? Not what I would do.
Not a good
You
call.
want that close.
You want it close.
Because people are going to
You
crowd
want the
there, and
thing-
they're kind of
But you
already on the
want
dance
it-
floor.
You want it condensed
Yep.
anyways,
Yep.
because you want all the energy.
Yep.
If you spread the energy
Too
out,
much space. Too
you
much,
better
too
have
much.
500 people there.
Yep.
Because let's say you have 100, and 100 is a lot of people, but if you have 100, which I think is a safe number, you kind of want it all kind of in a smaller space where you're like, that's obviously the cake, and that's where that's going to happen. The buffet's over here. We did all we thought about was what is the kind of party we would want to be at, and then you go, well, right at 10 o'clock, I would want someone walking out with sliders. Yeah. So you go, then get that, because that's what other people are going to want. They're going to want music. You want to say, hey, for a certain amount of time, nobody can throw music at the DJ. And then after a certain amount of time, people can go start having the DJ play stuff. One big surprising thing that I learned, because Jordan and I wanted like a bunch of 80s songs, and then we had like 1940s jazz playing while people ate. It was nice. It was classy. And I loved the 80s music. That kept people up dancing, and it was like nostalgic. Yeah. And people kept coming over, and they were like, hey, can you just tell the DJ it's okay if we give them recommendations? Because we said don't do it all night. And we were like, you get to a point, you're like, yeah, it's fine. We're, we are drowning in 80s. Sure. So we're like, yeah, you can go to recommendations. And of course, people were doing
Black Eyed Peas,
hot pop music of the day. Yep. And I've maybe said this before, but at a wedding, it works because everyone is like, oh, yeah, I know this song. And it brings everybody together. You might be like, yeah, but I don't like the Black Eyed Peas. It goes, the thought is like, well, it doesn't matter because everyone recognized this song and it's fucking amped. Right. So now people are. So if I can give a suggestion, I know it's too late for this, but for people who are planning a wedding, don't be afraid of doing like modern day pop mainstream hits, because you might think, I don't really want that. It's not who I am. That's me. I don't necessarily vibe to that music. Sure. But in that kind of setting, you want it. It brings everybody together.
I agree.
God, I could go on and on about this. I think you got to plan it all by yourself. I would give them the warning. Hey, if you guys don't get involved,
or you'd plan it with a bit.
I think you go, look. I'll plan a sincere wedding, but if you guys don't get involved, I'm going to look up online. That's what you do. You go online, you look at the bullet points.
Just read the full Roger Ebert review of my best friend's wedding.
Yeah.
Just read that review.
Yep. And then leave it at that and go, all right, so now the vows. You guys want to do the vows now? I think I wouldn't worry about the venue. I wish she wasn't being a bridezilla. If there is the off chance that you are listening to this, it's all already happened.
Sure. I hope it went great.
I hope it was great. I hope
the Reverend.
But you
kind of set the Reverend up to fail.
You can't look. He heard. I've been told the fiance has been a bit of bridezilla. He's been told that.
Could it also be
that has to be coming from your now husband?
So you guys write us a letter.
You guys should write us a letter about what it's like, what an annulment is like.
And that proceeding. Dude. But
also don't be nervous. Don't be nervous about this. It's not.
Do you think there's a chance
it'll be fine.
That they're just assuming, obviously, the best man and the person who married them, their sister, are coming to stay at the cabin?
You would,
and that's why it hasn't been brought up. Like, well, where else would you guys go?
I would double check all of that. Although,
how do you double check that though?
That's where am I staying? Do I need to get my own place? Call me back, or I'm not going to officiate. I won't officiate if you don't call me back.
You're like, I'm starting to realize why the other one quit.
I don't think they chickened out. I think you weren't listening to them. I think you weren't getting back to them. God, you got to write us back. This is so great for the Patreon. You got to let us know how this wedding went.
I know. I want to hear everything.
I want all the details of this wedding.
Do you think people are still doing throwing the garter?
Sure.
Did you guys? I bet you did not.
I don't think we did.
And they're still doing the bouquet?
I think so. I think we did that. I don't remember. I really don't remember at all.
Really?
We didn't even do the traditional exit the wedding. Like, we let it all end and we left with everybody.
I can't with that.
You got to leave early or what?
I want to leave with it still going.
Yeah.
At least a half hour to 45 minutes before it ends.
Oh, yeah.
And in my mind, it never ended. It just, everybody partied the whole, even if I see those people later, we're eating pizza and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't want to be there when the lights come up and somebody's crying.
That's not what a host one.
People are arguing about who's going to carry all these centerpieces out.
That's not host one. That's not host one, Fodder.
Not my uncle. He's responsible. But your uncle.
But yours. Yeah, good luck, Rev. Hope you pulled it off. But you got to write us back and let us know.
Please. 100%.
Also, I'm kind of excited about this wedding.
If it's short, I want to know what you said, too. Send that in your letter.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know what you did for the... Yeah, if you wrote out something, you got to send it to us.
Do you think we're going to get invited to weddings again now that things are coming back?
Yeah.
What about Bort and Jen?
Yeah.
We got to figure out how to re-rack that.
We'll re-rack it.
And we're going to have them renew their vows?
Yes.
They came
way
to
too
my
fast
Chicago
into the
show.
wedding. Oh, yeah? How was that?
great. They're wonderful. They're gorgeous.
You guys didn't do it then? They
Yeah.
get married every
Do
time.
you think I'm gonna do
any
that
of us are
without you?
around. Yeah, every time. Every time they get married. Reverend, good luck. We're all counting on you. Sincerely, we wish you well. Sincerely, your pen pals, host number 2.
And host number 2A.
But just so bitter. And I should have been like, and other host 1. And second host 1.